Hey, what's going on? So today's pretty exciting because we are trying on a woman's gi, and when I first started Jiu-Jitsu, you could not get a woman's fitted gi on Amazon, but you can today. So today we're going to be trying it on and going through some things that you probably don't know about a gi from not ever being in Jiu-Jitsu. And this one came with some pre-workout, which is pretty cool. So let's try this puppy on. And when you find your passion, it ignites you as a person. You just feel awesome. Tell you what, you ladies are lucky because 5 years ago, there was not gis specifically for women on Amazon. Actually, in my last video, if you wanted to watch that, I tried on a gi that's for a man that I recommend for beginners because it is really inexpensive. This gi is literally twice as much, but it is cut specifically for a female. I went over in my previous video some of the key differences, and in today's video, we're gonna go over like 3 important factors for your woman's gi. So first factor is obviously sizing. Now, if you've never picked out a gi before, this is going to be brand new information, important information. Once you figure this out, you'll be in the know, you know? If you know, you know. So basically when you look at, this is specifically for this brand, I'll link this exact gi below, but this is the sizing chart for this gi. All right, here we go. So basically we start at an F0 starts at 90 pounds all the way to 110, and the F1 starts at 115, it looks like, until you get to 125. F2 is from 125 all the way to 140 pounds. And let's see, which size did I get? I got an F2. So F2, yeah, 125 to 140. So this is perfect for me. I'm like 135, 140. I don't know, I haven't weighed myself in like a year, but you can go over the fit. So you can see, like I mentioned in my previous video, this part will always be baggy like this. And you have a little nice drawstring to tie it. And the fit is pretty nice. In the bottom pants, you can do a squat test to make sure that you have enough room in there. Oh yeah, this is nice. To be honest, it is a little tight in the pants. But I mean, it's very well fitted. So this is what it looks like. I usually wear some spandex underneath because you saw how baggy this waist is, and it's like that for even gis that are like 3 sizes too small for you. It's always going to be baggy. So you have to wear something underneath, because if this becomes untied, your pants are just going to fall down and you don't want to be in your underwear. So that's a key tip number 1, like always wear something under your pants. And then the second tip was the chart that we just went over. So you want to make sure that you have the correct sizing. And it seems like, you know, if you're a little curvier, I, you know, squat a lot. So these are just like right on the cusp. So don't size down in these, like be very truthful like about your weight, because these are pretty slim cut. Like I said before, if you have like a bigger gi, they'll typically give you more room, like in this area. So if you have a gi that's like too small for you, it's going to be difficult for you to move in it, like do squats, and you'll probably get a plumber's crack. And yeah, so this is the like 3rd key difference between this and the men's gi that I tried on in my previous video, primarily is cost. So this gi is twice as expensive. It's $100 and something. which can be a lot if it's your first time and you're not sure if you're going to like the sport. So my recommendation in my last video was just to get the cheaper gi. The previous men's gi that I tried on was like 60 bucks, and this is like 120, 130. But if you're the type of female that, you know, you want to be all in, and sometimes if you make a good initial commitment up front, then it kind of like forces you like, all right, we need to do this because mama spent a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? So I guess it just depends on like your preference. If you want something more cut and fitted and you're not and you're willing to spend more, then go with this gi. So I even got my white belt back out to show you what it would look like. I'll also link a white belt from Amazon below. And one thing to consider too is you don't need a gi for your first class. All the schools that I've been to when I've seen beginners walk in for the first time, they walked in typical street clothes, like athletic gear. So don't feel like you need to get a gi for your first class. And some of the schools that I've been to, they actually give you a gi as part of your welcome package. But again, as a female, I've never seen a school that had female sized gis that they give out for newbies. Like, you're gonna end up getting a man-sized gi if you attend a school that has, like, you know, a welcoming package like that. And other schools too, they will let you borrow a gi for your first time around if, you know, they're doing gi things. Other schools will have what's like called an on-ramp program. But I mean, just walk in your regular street clothes and you'll be fine. You don't need a gi for your first day. But if you're thinking about getting a gi, then yeah. And another thing too that I like about this gi is the fabric. So basically it's a very, very lightweight fabric, which is nice when you're a beginner, because when you're a beginner, you're not going to be used to how hot it's going to be, how sweaty you're going to get, and the pressure and additional heat of somebody like on top of you smothering you. So it's going to feel very intense at first when you first start rolling. That's why when I first started Jiu-Jitsu, I got a lightweight gi. And what that means is, like, this material is not heavy and stifling. Like on like the gis that I wear now, it's a very thick, tight material. And if I would have started wearing the gis I wear now, like, I wouldn't have been able to move on the mats. I would have been so hot. I just would have been there in a pool of sweat, too hot to move. But yeah, so the key points are, for this gi specifically, we have the sizing chart that we went over, that you'll see when you visit Amazon. It's one of the pictures. So just pick a size that's going to be correlated to your height and weight. For female size gis, you'll usually see like an F0 to start with. That's the shortest and the lightest weight, all the way up to F, another number, maybe F4, F5. And the F typically stands for female. For men's gis, it usually starts with an A, which I'm not sure what that means. But yeah, so you have the sizing. Make sure you get something to put underneath your gi. I can link some, you know, what I wear. I actually got these shorts off of Amazon as well. I'll give you the link to the belt. And yeah, make sure you're honest about your weight, because these are very fitted. And yeah, if you get something that's, you know, 10 or 15 pounds below what you actually weigh, you probably won't be able to squat in them, which isn't good. There's no stretch to this material at all. And definitely, if something is fitting you very nicely, even if it says pre-shrunk, do not believe them. I've so many times on the mat heard, oh my God, I put my gi through a hot wash cycle, or I put my gi in the dryer, and who's smaller than me and wants a gi? So you don't want to waste $150 something by washing your gi in hot water or putting it in the dryer. Like, If it's very, very fitted, I recommend just drying it. Or if you want to be a little bit drying it like air dry, just hanging it up. Or if you want to be a little more daring, or if the gi is like a little bit loose and you have, you know, some wiggle room, then you can put it in the dryer on like a no heat setting, but make sure you're very diligent about checking that it's actually on a extremely low heat, because if you put it on that high heat, then we all know what's gonna happen. But yeah, the nice thing about Amazon too is like this is a Amazon Prime gi, so you get, you know, the 2-day shipping and free exchanges, so you can, you know. And this gi comes in 3 different colors. It comes in blue, white, and black. Those are typically the colors that you will see on the mat. On my previous video, I was actually trying on a green, like an army green gi, which I love that color, but you typically don't see that color on the mat. That's a little bit atypical, but that's okay. Just know that, you know, like you're gonna stand out a bit if you wear something that's like non-typical. But all right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm very excited to be able to try on a female gi for you, because like when I first started 5 years ago, I actually have a video that's pretty funny. You'll be entertained by it, about like my first day ever taking classes. So when I first started, there was nothing on the internet, like on Amazon for women, for a woman's size gi, and now there is. So we are making progress, which is always good to see. But all right, so thank you so much for watching. It's great to see you again. And if you have any questions, as always, please just leave me a comment. I always love to hear from you, and I always like to help. Yeah, so until next time, bye. I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their